See, I told you about the lineage. Lineage does not mean that it is a matriarchal. It is a patriarchal. Lineage, इसीलिए वो तीन terms लिखे थे. You must have read in the society. It was a patriarchal society. Lineage was a matrilineal. So I'll tell you just one. Give me 1 minute. One question which I wanted to discuss with you guys. UPSC question. So it was there in 2014. Just 1 minute. Earlier I had the paper, but just पेपर चाहिए था 2014 जीएस पेपर 1. ये निकाल के रखो, मिल गए, छोड़. So just 1 minute. Just you write the question. Takshashila University was one of the oldest universities of the world. Takshashila University was one of the oldest universities of the world, with which were associated a number of renowned learned personalities. Of different discipline. Number of renowned learned personalities of different discipline. Okay? And you see that the question itself is a kind of so big that it seems it is an answer. So after full stop you write learned after personalities, renowned personalities of different disciplines. Of different disciplines. Full stop. Then you write its strategic location caused its fame. Its strategic location caused its fame to flourish. Caused its fame, famous hona, fame to flourish. Then, comma, but unlike Nalanda, it is not considered as a university in the modern sense. A university in the modern sense. Full stop and discuss. Full stop and discuss. In the modern sense. Modern sense. Then, and full stop, then discuss. Again, एक बार फिर से question को पढ़ो, that what's there in the question, and then we will discuss. So first I would like to know from you that what are the parts of there are many parts of the question and which part we need to answer. So see, that question is so big. You see, just read one time. Then, so what is written that first a kind of description is given about the Takshashila University, that one of the oldest, okay? Takshashila University, what all things are given? So it is said that one of the oldest. Done. फिर उसके बाद then second information about Takshashila University, strategic location जिसकी वजह से it caused it to fame. strategic location. Then, and then after strategic location, the third information is that many learned personalities were associated with this university. So learned personalities of different discipline. Learned personality of different discipline. Then, but the last part is that Takshashila, the last information about that Takshashila is that it is not modern like Nalanda, not modern like Nalanda, not modern like Nalanda. Then, so there are, can you tell me that out of this all, which part needs to be addressed? Which part must be there in the answer? What they are asking? Yes, actually, it is not modern like Nalanda. So even if you don't know that this learned personality of the different discipline, it will work then, because this is the main question. This is the main question. They have given so many statements only to come at this particular part. So modern like the Nalanda means that why Nalanda was modern and why Takshashila was not modern. Agar jo simple words mein, if I put it in one word, this question, so why Nalanda was modern and Takshashila was not modern, discuss. This is the question actually then, but these kind of statements are given. So this is actually many a times UPSC, not many a times, but often you will get this kind of question, not just in this subject, but in also in the polity and other subjects, so that your patience is tested, that your patience is tested, that how well you are reading the question and identifying the parts of the question. And very often it happens that people do know the answer, but they kind of panic when they see this much large question. It's a panic nahi hona hai. That's the one of the kind of that not a very toughest question. So we need to address this one. But I'll tell you a few other things also. So related to this one of the oldest, why it is said as the one of the oldest, that when we started that the 16 Mahajanpadas, okay? So Magad and these all were there. So from the Maurya's time itself, Takshashila origin was there, and it was there in that Pakistan part, Gandhara, which particular Mahajanpad? Gandhara Mahajanpad. It was the capital of that area. Then, so, and why this area was called a strategic location? If you go by the map of the Pakistan, geography not done in your classes? Abhi start bhi nahi hua hai. So when you will be reading geography, so you will come to know that there are many passes in the Pakistan. देखो जब geography पढ़ोगे, so at that point of time, here one side of the India is the Himalaya, ठीक है? Then here Pamir Knot is there, ऊपर. Then Hindu Kush, Kirtihar, Suleiman. These three ranges are there. Hindu Kush, Kirtihar, Suleiman, three ranges are there in the Pakistan. And इसमें से बीच में से बहुत सारे passes हैं. So many passes are there. And so because of the presence of these passes, Khojak, Gomal, Bomal, kind of so many passes are there, and that's how the connectivity is there with the Western world. So but obvious that this is a strategic location, क्योंकि यहाँ से इधर भी जा सकते हैं, and then obviously you can go to China also, because here also the passes were there. So this was the strategic location, and because of it, the routes were there, it became famous. That you don't need to write in the answer, but I'm telling you what is there. Now, learned personalities of the different discipline. Okay? So let me tell you that learned personality of the different discipline, the first and the foremost learned personality was the Kautilya himself. Then, so Kautilya himself, then after the Kautilya, there were some other people. One was the Charak. Have you heard about him? Charak. So he is called as the father of the Ayurveda. And then, have you heard about the Susrut? Surgery. Then he was also from this place. Then Dhanvantari. No, sorry, not Dhanvantari. Just 1 minute. Dhanvantari was not from here. Nagarjun. Nagarjun was from this place. He was known for the metallurgy. Then Nagarjun. Then uske baad then after Nagarjun, Susrut, Charak, Kautilya, Aryabhat, Brahmagupt. So these all personalities were there. If you go by the scientific advancement of the Indians in the ancient ages, most of the learned personalities are from the Takshashila region. Okay? So these all people, and I hope you know about the Aryabhat and then the Brahmagupt. So Brahmagupt was the one who gave the concept of the zero. Later on, it was incorporated by the Aryabhatta also. And then Brahmagupta is the one that who is for the very first time who said that there is a something kind gravity. Okay? So before Newton, it was predicted by the Brahmagupta. So these kind of learned personalities were there. But even after that, it is not a modern university. Nalanda was the modern university and this was not the modern university. So how you will be writing this question? This is one question where people actually didn't had any kind of knowledge regarding this question, because everything cannot be taught in the classes and nobody knows that what is there in the mind of the UPSC. So basically here you need to apply your mind. There are some nuances to write the answer and there are some ways how that you will be kind of that creating points and then you will be writing. So the trick is that now you need to focus only on one word, that is the modern university. Modern university. Okay? So in the present day, most of us, we have read from some of the modern university. These are the modern universities. So even if you don't know what was there in the Nalanda, you can write the features of the modern university. This is the trick. Then that what are the features there in the present day universities, that would be the feature of the Nalanda. So, and then we'll come to the Takshashila. Even if you don't know that what makes Takshashila not modern, exactly opposite of the modern we'll write in that. Then, so somehow out of 12.10 marker question, we can get 4.5. Then, so these are the one of the most difficult questions in the paper. So let me, so you tell me that what according to you are the features of the modern university. आजकल के university में क्या होता है? What are the? No guru sisipal. Scientific. Chalo, I'll take. You just tell me what is there. Entrance exam. Very good. Exactly. This I'll take. So entrance exam. Then library. So you said technology advancement library and then you also said that something kind of scientific. Merit to isme ho gaya. Wo. Yes. So this I'll keep, what all you said, I'll keep in infrastructure. Okay? So these all are the infrastructure. Infrastructure. Then, and infrastructure में देखो दो तीन types है, ठीक है? One is the buildings which is required. So infrastructure, one is the physical infrastructure, ठीक है? Which includes the building. For example, that Santiniketan, when it all started, Santiniketan University by Rabindranath Tagore, so he was teaching in a garden. There was no infrastructure. Then, so a building must be there. And other parts of the physical infrastructure is one of the very important. Somebody said library. So library is the part of the physical infrastructure. So library, okay? Then other part of the university is that one very important part is the hostel, okay? Residential campus. Then, so modern universities do have the hostel, okay? They do have the hostel, physical infrastructure. Then also the academic infrastructure. Academic library would be the academic infrastructure and then the classrooms would also be there. Apart from that, the syllabus. So there is a defined syllabus. See, if you are in a BSc first year or MA first year, you have a defined syllabus. Then you know that there is a defined syllabus for first year, there is a defined syllabus for the second year. So defined syllabus. नहीं ऐसे नहीं लिखेंगे, ठीक है? Teaching methods change to oral to book. अभी भी oral होता है. What I am doing, that is also oral. Okay? So now, next thing is that on the basis of the syllabus, defined syllabus, what is conducted? A regular exam. Okay? So regular exam. A regular exam. So regular exam is conducted, and then on the basis of that exam, the results come. A result is there, and then on the basis of that result, you are promoted to next grade. So promotion to next grade. Promotion to next grade on the basis of result. On the basis of results. Then on the basis of results. Then so these are the some of the features. Then apart from this one, when you read in the modern universities, though if you're reading in the private university, but obvious that you are going to pay some fee. But what about the government university? Still you are going to pay some fee. Though it may be, it would be, it would be subsidized or nominal, but you are paying some fee. So fee, okay? Some kind of fee is there. Now, only this much you see. This was the case in the Nalanda. That Nalanda, on the basis of the merit, people were kind of that given the place. Then infrastructure was there, which included physical infrastructure, buildings, classrooms, libraries, and then the hostel, residential campus. Done. Then defined syllabus. On the basis of defined syllabus, regular exams were conducted, and on the basis of that, promotion to next grade on the basis of the result. Done. And they charged some fee. This is the modern university, exactly like the modern university, Nalanda. And Nalanda is also considered as the first international university. Then, so first international modern university. Then, what about Takshashila? So, we are, in the question itself, it has established that Takshashila, let me complete the answer. So, Takshashila, it has said that Takshashila is not modern. So हमें पता भी नहीं है कि तक्षशिला में मॉडर्न नहीं है. So what are the things which are there in the modern? So even if you don't know, you just negate this kind of options. Then, so no entrance exam. Then no entrance exam, no physical infrastructure, no defined syllabus. Then no regular exam, and this one I'll tell you. So at least this much you can write. And fee also I'll tell you. Okay? So now let me tell you a few things about that. No entrance exam is a different thing. Physical infrastructure. Actually, Takshashila, the overall area of the Takshashila, it was considered as a university. There was no actually university-like thing. Why it was considered as university? Because if you look at the today's quota. So quota is a kind of education industry in the India, that earlier it was only known for the IITs, now it is known for the medical also. Then, so students are living all over the quota. That was the case of the Takshashila. Then, so students were living all over there in the Takshashila, and in the today's modern quota, you go to the coaching institutes, Bansal, Allen, whatever, Fitji, whatever that is there. And there, these students were going to the home of the Guru. Okay? So here was the Guru Shishya Parampara. Okay? Here the education was the Guru Shishya Parampara. And students were going to the house of the Guru, okay, to take the education. Now, defined syllabus, there was no defined syllabus at this point of time. And why regular exam was not there? Because when Guru was teaching the students, so it was the satisfaction of the Guru, which when Guru thought that, and not thought that, when he saw that students have acquired enough knowledge, so then he says to them that now you have acquired enough knowledge, go outside and then search different kind of knowledge. Then, and at this point of time, so there is no exam, it is the satisfaction of the Guru, after which they are leaving the place of the Guru. And then finally, the students are kind of that, they are not defined the fee. They are not kind of supposed to pay a particular fee, but it is voluntary, that whoever is getting the kind of that, getting taught over there, so according to their capacity, they can give the Guru Dakshina. Okay. So Guru Dakshina mein, it was not like that it is decided that you all of you give the 1,60,000. According to your capacity, what is that? What is your capacity? So according to that, you can pay to the Guru. Then, so this was the system in the Takshashila. So this is the overall answer, but you got that even if you don't know the exact content, you can kind of that write some of the content. And this kind of questions will always be there in the paper. 1 or 2 questions you will always find in the paper. And that's why I'm saying that read the question properly and then move on. Then you got that. So कुछ तो ठीक मतलब महसूस होगा इसको सुनने के बाद. Then now ask your question. हाँ. This also can be. Nalanda was truly international university. Like the Chinese people came to read over there in the Nalanda. ये भी था, ठीक है? So this was also one of the features. Done? So that you could have written. So it's exactly like, that's why we say that Nalanda is a modern university. नहीं नहीं नहीं, ऐसे नहीं बोलेंगे, ठीक है. सी एग्जैक्टनेस तो हो ही नहीं सकती ना. इवन व्हेन देयर इज अ काइंड ऑफ दैट ट्विन्स हु आर born, there is no exactness. Even the doppelgangers don't have the exactness. हाँ, similarity is there, but exactly not similar. So I hope you understand what is doppelganger. So चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. So this much you have written, and then the last thing that you wrote was the Kumar Gupta, ठीक है? He became the ruler. So he was instrumental behind this one. So you write little bit about that. You have written that he created the Nalanda University. Let me see. After that he became the ruler. Then you write that under the influence of Fahyan, Kumar Gupta created under the influence of Fahyan, because he was the Chinese Buddhist then. So under the influence of Fahyan, Kumar Gupta, acha, you have already written, ठीक है? Okay. So then you write that the Nalanda University created by Kumar Gupta was first truly international modern university. First truly international modern university. इंटरनेशनल लिखा है तो क्या होगा इंटरनेशनल का मतलब. So चलो, so already I have explained you to you that particular question. So I hope that something you have jotted down. उसको एक बार फिर से अपने end पे what you do, that you write this question. ठीक है? That already it has been discussed in the classes. So you write this question at home. Done? Now listen. Yes, ask. हाँ, same thing I'm saying, that it's common sense. It's common sense that on the basis of the common sense you are writing this answer. These are the common sense. So that's why I'm saying that you always be aware about that there is a scope of the common sense in the paper. So this is the common sense then. But यहाँ पे भी क्या होता है कि you don't need to panic. First of all, the most important is that keep cool, then patience, and then you read the question. And then if you are calm and composed, so then you can think on that line. Okay? Just try to identify the key word. That is one of the very big challenge, that identifying. What if? No, common sense never goes entirely incorrect. It is the one benefit of the common sense, that entirely common sense कभी entirely incorrect नहीं होता है. ठीक है? So there are, that's why we say it's not scientific. That's why we say it's a common sense, that there would be some shrouds of doubt then, but it will not be entirely incorrect then. So, and that's asked in that manner only, that many a times. And you see that why this kind of common sense kind of questions are asked. When you are an administrator, you need to apply your common sense when you are in that area. Yes, this is how they try to develop the common sense in you. But most of the time, what happens that people become nonsensical. That's why these kind of questions are there. You got that? So it's very important for an administrator to apply his common sense and also enhance his common sense. Then, so now we'll move to that. We are very slow. अब बाद में पूछ लेना, बहुत slow है हम लोग इसमें, ठीक है? स्कंदगुप्त के आ जाते हैं, ठीक है? So next was the स्कंदगुप्त. You listen little bit about that. ब्रेक में पूछ लेना तुम लोग मेरे से, ठीक है? So Skandagupta was the last important ruler, and Skandagupta reign ended by, he was there from the 455 to 67, 12 years. Then now listen, that at the time of the Skandagupta, there was one very barbaric tribe from the Central Asia, and the name of the tribe was the Huna. Then, so Huna invaded, they were the barbaric tribe, and they invaded the Guptas at this point of time. But Skandagupta was a strong ruler, and he not easily, but he somehow defeated them. Then, and these people went back to Central Asia. Now, these people started to they waited for the death of the Skandagupta, and when he died in 467, so they again came back under the leadership of the two new people, Toraman and Mihirkula. Toraman and Mihirkula. These were the two people, and under the leadership of these two leaders, they completely destroyed the Gupta territory. Okay? And not only destroyed, but they also looted one of the very precious things, all of the precious things, which included the gold coins of the Guptas also. So they looted the Gupta territory, and then they went back to their own place. So their intention was not to rule in India, but to loot the Guptas. So they looted and they went back. That was the last thing. Then after 467, when Guptas were looted, still some of the rulers were there, but they were so weak that they could not extend the Gupta territory. And by 550 AD, they completely disappeared from India. So this much you write that after the death of Kumaragupta, Skandagupta became the next ruler. Skandagupta became the next ruler. Then during his tenure, a barbaric tribe, from Central Asia, barbaric tribes from Central Asia, Huna, started to invade Gupta territory. Then, but this threat of Hunas was eliminated by Skandagupta. For some time. Then, full stop. After the death of Skandagupta, Hunas reorganized themselves. Under the leadership of Toraman and Mihirkula. So that's written on the board. Toraman and Mihirkula. Toraman and Mihirkula. Then further right, Toraman and Mihirkula, and they looted the Gupta territory. After that, you write that after the Hunas attack, Gupta's rule was so weakened. That by 550 AD, they completely disappeared from India. Done? So this is all about that, the kind of the chronological aspect, and then the political things. Now we'll move to the separate headings, that is the administration of the Guptas, which include the economy also. Here we'll talk about that, and then we'll move to the society and the religion. Then, so you write administration under Guptas. Administration under Guptas. So now listen a little bit that Gupta's administration. So though it was not very full-fledged like that the Mauryas had a very good arrangement of the administration, but here it was not like that, and it was more of a central nature. Means that the Gupta rulers, they were the central authority and most of the powers were vested with them. Then not much of decentralization happened at this point of time. And Gupta rulers, they always used to take that some titles like the Maharaja Dhiraj, okay? So Maharaja, this kind of that. Then, so it also suggests that that Maharaja Dhiraj means that king of the king. So they used to take this kind of title. But this is not very important. The important is that the divisions and then the head and then also there was one tax which I need to discuss. So first of all, that for administrative convenience, abhi likhna nahi kuch bhi, okay? So for administrative convenience, Gupta territory was divided into, first of all, the first division was known as Bhukti, then Visay, and then after that, Vithi. So these were the three important divisions. Bhukti was the largest one. You can say that it is like the province. Vishay would be like the district. This would be like the block. Then, so this kind of division was there. And Bhukti was headed by Uparika, Vishay, Vishaypati, and Vithi, Vithipati. Then, so these were the officers who headed this divisions. So now you write that Gupta's administration was not as elaborate as Maurya's. Was not as elaborate as Maurya's. Then further you write one more thing I am writing, Kumar Amatya. You write Kumar Amatyas were the most important officer. And here the particular word Kumar Amatyas, that most of the important positions were given to the princes, then that the sons of the king. So they are the Kumar, okay? Amatya. Amatya means the minister. Then so Kumar Amatyas were the most important officers. Then, and here basically Kumar Amatyas used to live in the capital itself. They were given the home division. Okay? So you write they were appointed in the home divisions. Appointed in the home divisions. Home divisions. Then after you write for administrative convenience, entire kingdom was divided into three parts. For administrative convenience, entire kingdom was divided into three parts. So you write, now first you write the first and the foremost Bhukti, and here you can write in the brackets, it's like a province. Okay? So province, and you write headed by Uparika. Then second you write Vishay, and Vishay would be like the district. Okay? So this is going to be like district. And it is headed by Vishaypati. And then you write Vithi. Vithi is the, and the head is the Vithipati. So Vithi is the block. Then, so this is the division. Now I need to tell you some kind of factual information related to that. That Guptas or kind of that they did have their unique kind of stamp, and their stamp was the image of the word Garuda. Okay? So Garuda means that they were the worshippers of the Vishnu. Okay? So you write the stamp of Guptas included the image of Garuda. Then now we need to talk about the taxes. So listen, the taxes varied, the tax rates varied. Generally, in the normal situation, the tax rate was 1/6 of the produce. Land tax is the most important tax, and then 1/6 of the produce was the normal tax. But it used to change to 1 by 4 also whenever there was emergency condition. For example, that emergency condition is one that there is a kind of attack on the Gupta territory. So then that is an emergency condition. Then if there is a kind of some unforeseen circumstances are there, so then increase of the taxes would be there. Then, but in the normal types 1 by 6. But apart from that, there was one more provision, one more thing which was there under the Guptas, that whenever army was passing through any village, so if they are village or town, if they are staying at that place for 2-3 days or for one night, so the people of the village or the town, they needed to feed them. Then this was one important thing. And then after, there was a one more kind of tax which was a not kind of that people didn't needed to pay it in the cash or anything or the produce, but it was paid in the form of the forced labor. Then, and that was known as the Visti. Okay? So basically this part was applicable in the central and the western India, not in the all of the Gupta territory, only in the central and the western part of the Gupta territory, which means that Madhya Pradesh and the Gujarat part, which they controlled, and also the some parts of the Rajasthan. Then, so this was the question which was this here, Visti. Then, and it is very well written in the very first page of the R.S. Sharma. Then, so it was not that difficult question. Then, now you write. So you write that the normal rate of tax was 1 by 6th of the produce. The normal rate of tax was 1 by 6th of the produce, but in emergency situation, in emergency situations, it was increased to 1 by 4 of produce. It was increased to 1 by 4 of the produce. 1 by 4 of the produce. Then after that, after full stop, you write that 1 by 4 of the produce. Then you write that it was also the norm. It was also the norm that norm. N-O-R-M, norm. So, norm that whenever the army was passing through any village or town, whenever the army was passing through any village or town, then the people of village or town, need to feed the army. Then full stop, and you kind of write in the bold letters. Vishti was a kind of tax in the form of forced labor in central and western part of the Gupta territory. Forced labor in the central and western part of the territory. Central and western part of the territories. Then, so this is one aspect. Now, I'll tell you one more which is there, and that's related to that. The land grant we talked over there in the Satavahana. So here also we need to talk about the land grants. Now, the land grants in the Satavahana period were given only to the Brahmins. Now, it will be extended to the officers also. Okay? So you write that the practice of land grant increased under Guptas. Now, increased under Guptas, full stop. Now, not only Brahmins, but also officers were paid in the form of land grant. not only Brahmins, but also officers were paid in the form of land grants. Land grants in lieu of their service. In lieu, L-I-E-U, in lieu of their service. In lieu of their service. Then, so I'm going to write two special type of the lands which were given to the Brahmins. There is a name given to that land which was given to the Brahmins. Then, so there was one grant which was known as the Agrahara, and there was one land grant which was known as Brahmadeya. So these were the two land grants which were given to the Brahmins. Then, so Agrahara is also a land grant which is given to the Brahmin, and Brahmadeya also land grant which is given to the Brahmin, but different kind of services. Then, so generic services, Agrahara, and then some special service like the marriage on this kind of thing are kind of conducted by the Brahmins. So then the Brahmadeya. Then, so you write that Agrahara and Brahmadeya were the special land grants. Agrahara and Brahmadeya were the special land grants given only to the Brahmins. Given only to the Brahmins. Given only to the Brahmins. Then, so this is about that the full administration which includes the economy also. Then, so now we'll move to the society during the Gupta period. Then you write society under Guptas or society during Gupta period, whichever you feel okay. So society during Gupta period. Now I need to ask you some questions. Then, so the question is according to you, how was the situation of the women in the Gupta period? Kuch bhi aisa batao, that if you have any kind of knowledge, or you can guess also. Not satisfactory. Yes, very good. Exactly. Actually, this I wanted. So when I say not satisfactory, it means that some steps were taken by the Gupta rulers. Then, but these steps were not enough. Then, so now listen that what happened in the post-Maurya period. Here I'll give the reference to the post-Maurya period also. So post-Maurya period was the one where the position of the women deteriorated. Okay? Deteriorated, and here the Gupta rulers tried to uplift their position, but they were not very successful. So, and what was there? That women, particularly women in the post-Maurya period, they were not allowed to listen to the epics and Puranas. Then, but what happened that in this period, Guptas allowed to women that they can listen the religious texts. Then that they cannot read, but at least they can listen to the religious texts, that the epics and the Puranas. Then another thing which was there, that though the lower caste women were allowed to work outside their houses, but the upper caste women, they were not allowed to have an independent source of living, and they were always dependent on their spouses. Then this was one such thing. Then when it comes to the property, so there were no property rights at this point of time to the women. Okay? Piche bhi nahi tha, it was not there, but at this point of time there was no property rights and no immovable, what we say that land ko kya bolte hain? Immovable property, na? It's a assets. No. Land is the immovable property. So they didn't have that land rights. What I mean to say that no property rights means that the land property rights. But they were given, now listen, at the time of the marriage, they were given some wealth, that is the gold, jewelry, and these all kind of things. Then this kind of wealth which was given, that is the movable property. So this kind of wealth which was given to the women at the time of the marriage, it was known as Tridhan. And there they had the right that they can sell it, they can mortgage it. Then, so the right to the movable property was there, and authority was also there with them, but not there with the land. So they didn't enjoy the land rights. Then, so isme thoda likho that you start with that. So the position of women deteriorated in the post-Maurya period. Deteriorated in the post-Maurya period. In the post-Maurya period. But there was some effort from the Gupta side. But there was some effort from the Gupta side, from the Gupta side to uplift, from the Gupta side to uplift the position of women in society, to uplift the position of women in society. Then you write, and in the same I quote the Sudras also. So you write, they allowed women and Sudras, they allowed women and Sudras to listen epics and Puranas, to listen epic and Puranas. Epic and Puranas. Then after you write, to listen epic and Puranas, after that you write, though the lower caste women were allowed to work outside their houses, but upper class women, upper caste, ठीक है, हाँ upper caste you can write, upper class भी लिख सकते हो, ठीक है, means the rich people basically. So upper caste or class women were not allowed to have independent source of living, were not allowed to have independent source of living, full stop. Then you write about the property also. So you write, they did not enjoyed land property rights. Is this today's society better than the Guptas as far as the land rights are concerned? Steps have been taken but not implemented till now. So we are still in the same light. And I have seen that whenever, though constitutionally and then legally these provisions are there, I have seen on a moral basis, I'm telling you that I have seen that whenever some lady sees demanding the land at his father's house, so it is seen as a kind of that she has done some kind of crime. Then, so and she is highly criticized in that area. That must not be there. But ये attitudinal change चाहिए इसके लिए, ठीक है? That is not going to happen. So not going to happen now. So that's how this is there. Now what is there? That what you have written. So they didn't enjoy the land property rights. Then you write, women. Here they means the women only, ठीक है? So then further you write that, but they exercise full right. But they exercise full right to sell or mortgage, mortgage का मतलब गिरवी रखना, ठीक है? So mortgage, mortgage the movable property given to the girl at the time of her marriage, Then given to the girl at the time of her marriage. Then you write, this wealth, time of her marriage, this wealth was popularly known as Stri Dhan. Then, now, so this is the Stridhan, and actually this word Stridhan kind of thing was actually this name was proposed by one famous person who was at this point of time, who was writing the legal codes and bolte lawgiver. So his name was Katyayana. Okay? So you can write in the brackets that Stridhan concept was elaborated by famous lawgiver. Stridhan concept was elaborated by famous lawgiver Katyayana. Famous lawgiver Katyayana. Done. Now, one last thing about the women that was there. So at this point of time, now listen, बाद में लिखना, ठीक है? So listen, that at this point of time, there was one institution which was growing very rapidly, and that was the institution of the prostitution. Then, so institution of the prostitution was growing very rapidly, and stereotyping of the women altogether started at this point of time. Though it was already there, stereotyping, but you can say that the climax of the stereotyping can be seen in the ancient period, in the particularly the Gupta's age. Then, so stereotyping of the women and then the prostitution, these two increased. Then, so you write that at this point of time, stereotyping of the women increased, and also the institution of prostitution, So can you tell me some examples of the stereotyping? Some examples of stereotyping? Women were? Yes, actually this one I wanted, that they were often, that whenever they were kind of doing some puja pat, or whenever they were kind of that they were not adhering to the diktats of their people in their houses or in their neighbor, so they were often referred as the chudal, okay, witch. Okay? So this is how it was. It was one of the very big problem, and even till today, that Maharashtra, last year, even the bill was passed in the Maharashtra Assembly and the Karnataka also. Then, so this kind of practices are there, that people often refer the ladies with this kind of witches and these all kind of thing. Then, so that's a one type of stereotyping. Then another type of stereotyping is that yes, sexual stereotyping. Okay? That is also one thing, that you are kind of that saying them, then they are prostitute and this kind of thing. So these all kind of things increase, and then also the institute of the prostitution. Then the last thing we need to write, that here at this point of time there was one separate category of the untouchable. Okay? These untouchables were known as the Chandala. Chandalas started to emerge. Their emergence was in the post-Maurya period, but they reached the climax stage in the Guptas. So Chandalas, so you need to know that who were the Chandalas. Chandalas were those people who were not allowed to live inside the village or town, and whenever they were entering inside the village and town, so they needed to kind of that to blow the horn or beat the drum. Then, and they were allowed only to live close to the graveyards and outside the or you can say the periphery of the town or the village. Why there was this particular kind of thing, that why they needed to blow the horn and beat the drum? Because you must have read in the society the concept of purity and pollution. Then, so these people were considered as the pollution. So it is said that when they are entering into the village, and then if the people are going on some auspicious work, if they see them, so that will be hindered. So basically it meant that when they are entering into the village, so everybody will be going inside and they will do their work. And what kind of job they were doing? The manual scavenging. ठीक है? So it is still there. So हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि बहुत एडवांस कर गए, बहुत सारी चीजें अभी वैसे ही है. So manual scavenging and also the cleaning of the roads and these all kind of things they were doing, and then they were getting back. Then I'll talk about some more disabilities. One more disability was there, that these people were allowed to enter inside the villages only after the kind of that, you can say that 9 o'clock in the morning, and also after 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and they need to return back to their own place by 2:30 or maximum by 3 o'clock. Why this is so? Because if they enter inside the villages in the morning, in the very morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, so sun is down, shadows would be long. You got that? Have you observed? Yes. Their shadows were considered as a pollution. Evening same, sun is down, shadows would be long. So shadow was also considered as a pollution. Then you see that how many disabilities were imposed on them. One more disability which was there, and which was very much prevalent even till the time of the B.R. Ambedkar. Actually, the Ambedkar's community, you must have heard that Mahar, he belonged to the Mahar community. That community was one of the most discriminated community in India. So this all started from the Gupta period and it continued till the modern. So what was there? That these people, whenever they were entering into the village or town, so they needed to carry a pitcher in their particular this neck. So they will carry a pitcher, and why this is so? Because Yeah, they must not spit on the road, they spit in that pitcher, which because their spit was considered as a pollution. Then the second thing, this was not enough. One more disability was there, that in their dhotis, okay, in their dhotis, a broom was tied, so that, yes, actually a broom was tied and then their footmarks are cleaned by them. Okay, they are walking, their footmarks are cleaned by them. So this is how the discrimination was there. And when Ambedkar was growing, he was regularly seeing this kind of thing. So, but obvious that if he's kind of that in the academic area, so he will revolt and he will protest, and that all he started because of these all kind of thing. So, likho that at this point of time, there was a rapid increase of the untouchables Chandal. The untouchables Chandal. Done. Then you write, they were not allowed to live inside. They were not allowed to live inside village or town, but on the peripheries, or graveyards. Peripheries or graveyards. Then further you write that several disabilities were imposed on Chandals whenever they were entering inside the villages. Then just one example you write. For example, blowing horn or beating drum, blowing horn, okay. See, many a times the pronunciation needs to be there, but also it needs to be written. So, blowing horn, on नहीं, उसको change करो, ठीक है? There, first one, done. So, blowing horn or beating the drum when they were entering the village. Then, so this is there, beating the drum. So this is how these all kind of disabilities were there, and that was the condition of the people in the Gupta society. Now, the last part of the Guptas, थोड़े हम लोग बहुत slow हैं. See, आज 6th class है, and then generally ancient and medieval don't ask after the class. Generally what happens that within 6 classes, not more than 7 classes, it's completed. But I don't see that 8 के पहले ये खत्म होने वाला है, ठीक है? हाँ, medieval में there is not that much, but ancient is little big, ठीक है? So चलो, that next thing you write, religious practices during the Guptas. Religious practices during the Guptas. So here not much is there because again in architecture section we are going to talk about the Guptas. So first you write, not write, एक बार सुन लो that what is there. So at this point of time most of the Hindu deities were consolidated. Their concept was consolidated. That Lakshmi, Parvati, Saraswati, ठीक है, these all female deities were already there. Three Devatas were also already there. So first in the post-Maurya period and from the later Vedic period till post-Maurya period, the concept of the three Devata was consolidated, which is the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Now at this point of time, the concept of the three Devi got consolidated. Okay? So three Devi will include, no, Durga would not be there. Three Devi is the wife of those three Devata. Okay? So Parvati, Saraswati and Lakshmi. Okay? So these three Devi. And now at this point of time, Durga was considered as the consort of the goddesses. Okay? She was the main consort, means that all these Devis, Parvati, Lakshmi and Saraswati, they are considered as a form of the Durga. ठीक है. So one or other form of the Durga means that they all kind of emanated from the Durga. So that's how this concept was there. Then the next thing was that at this point of time temple architecture began. So which we'll be reading in the separate architecture section of the art and culture. But here we'll mention. So temple architecture began under the Guptas, and also majority of the Puranas were written down at this point of time. And finally, these epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, these all, they were written down in the Sanskrit. Okay? So, and in which particular script? Nagari script. Abhi Devanagari nahi. Later on that Nagari, the name will change to Devanagari. But initially it was known as the Nagari. There is a reason behind that Nagari. Because most of the, at the time of the Guptas, most of the, not most of that, Guptas were mostly living in the Nagar, okay, city. So the script which emerged from the Nagar was known as the Nagari. Okay? So that's the reason behind the meaning of that name of the Nagari. Then, so you write that the concept of three Devata was consolidated. The concept of three Devata was consolidated by the Maurya period, by the post-Maurya period. Consolidated by the post-Maurya period. Three Devata. Three Devata matlab three Devatas. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. ठीक है? Three Devata was consolidated. Then you write, at this point of time, the concept of three Devi was consolidated, which includes Saraswati, Lakshmi and Parvati. Then further, one more line you write. These female deities, D-E-I-T-I-E-S, these female deities were considered as consorts of Durga, consorts of Shakti, and in brackets you can write Durga. Consorts of Durga. Then, so this is how it is there. Then for that, right, temple architecture also began under the Guptas. Temple architecture also began under the Guptas. Then next you write after that, you write that majority of the Hindu literature, which includes Purana, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, though Bhagavad Gita is a part of the Mahabharata, but separately, it was separated also in a book. So Bhagavad Gita were compiled in Sanskrit. Then one more you mentioned that we will be reading in the philosophy. So last one in this one you write that Vaisesika philosophy also appeared at this point of time. Vaisesika philosophy also appeared, and we'll be reading about the Vaisesika very elaborately. Vaisesika philosophy also appeared at this point of time. Then, so this is all from the Guptas. Now we have taken a hell lot of time in the Guptas. So, and there is a reason behind that why we need to slow down at the Guptas, that last 3, 4, 5 years, hell lot of questions were there from the Guptas, and particularly in the mains. Then, इस बार prelims में पूछा है, but particularly in the mains there were 3 regular questions from the Guptas. Then, so we will discuss those all questions. So now, this is all about the Guptas. Now we'll go back to the South India. Then, so when the Guptas were there in the north, so in the south at this point of time, these three dynasties were there. One was here, the Chera. Then one was here, Pandyas. And in the Tamil Nadu in this part, that Cholas. Cholas. Then, so these three, and these are the part of the Sangama period. So you write Sangam period. Sangam period. Sangam period. Then, and I'll tell you that why these were known as the Sangam period later on, because of the Sangam assemblies. Then, so first of all, we will start from the Cheras, but before that, you just write one sentence. You write that in the early Christian era, three new dynasties emerged in the South India. Three new dynasties in the South India. And by 300 AD, they became very rich and powerful. By 300 AD, they became very rich and powerful. So one by one, here so much of factual things are there. So we will see at the facts only. So you start with the Cheras. So the first one you write the Cheras. The Cheras. Here I'll go little fast because not much is there. So Chera, so you write, they were also known as Kerala Putras. They were also known as Kerala Putras. Kerala Putras. Then they ruled from their capital. They ruled from their capital. What is it? Karur. Then see in this section how we are going to proceed, that I will talk about that. I will write the name of the earliest ruler and then the most important ruler, contribution of the most important ruler. Then so the earliest ruler of this Chera was the Udayin Jaral. Then so you write the name that Udayin Jaral was the earliest ruler. Udayin Jaral was the earliest ruler of the Cheras. Udayin Jaral, this is L. Udayin Jaral was the earliest ruler of the Cheras. Then you write Senguttuvan. Senguttuvan was the most important ruler. Senguttuvan was the most important ruler of the Cheras. Was the most important ruler of the Cheras. Senguttuvan was the most important ruler of the Cheras. He was also known as Good Chera or Red Chera. So Good Chera or Red Chera. Red is kind of that skin texture is there. वो सब छोड़ दो, आगे बढ़ो, ठीक है? So good chera or red chera. Then why he is very important? That see, he built a temple, and the name of the temple is the Temple of Kannagi. Then so he built the Temple of Kannagi, and he also founded a particular cult related to the Kannagi that was known as the Pattini cult. Then so Pattini cult. So you write that he built Temple of Kannagi. He built Temple of Kannagi. He built Temple of Kannagi and also founded Pattini cult. Okay, here it is, you may be thinking that what is Patni cult, okay? But it is just like that in Hindi you say Patni cult, okay? Patni, what is Patni? Bivi, okay? So kind of that actually. There is a story, not story, but there is a one very famous epic in the Tamil Nadu and one of the very popular epics in the south. So that is the Silappatikaram, okay? So the story would be there. I'll tell you the story also, but not today, okay? अभी आने दो जहाँ पे मेंशन आएगा I'll tell you the story of the Silappatikaram also, Manimekalai also. Then and there you will learn about the Kannagi, that who was the Kannagi. Then so you will learn about the Kannagi, her husband Kovalam. Then you will learn about the one dancer Madhavi. Then you will learn about that one Pandya ruler also. Okay? So I'm coming to the Pandya ruler. So this is how it was there. Now I need to mention that. There was a very well trade relation between the Kerala's and then also the Romans. And it is said that Roman people created the port of Musiri during their particular tenure. Done. So you write that there was a very good relation between the Kerala Cheras and the Romans. Between Cheras and Romans. Then between Cheras and Romans. Then you write, it is believed that at the port of Musiri, and this is the most important port of them. Okay? So at the port of Musiri, Romans created Temple of Augustus. Temple of Augustus. At the port of Musiri, Romans created Temple of Augustus. Then, so this is all about the Cheras. Now you write the Cholas. The Cholas. The Cholas. And here, so again the same way, that we'll be writing the first ruler and then the most important ruler and the contribution of the most important ruler. So basically the very first ruler of the this particularly Chola was the Ilara. Okay, so Ilara, you write Ilara was the earliest ruler. Ilara was the earliest ruler. And then further right, it is said that he conquered Sri Lanka. It is said that he conquered Sri Lanka and ruled there for 50 years. Sri Lanka, and it is said that he conquered Sri Lanka and then ruled there for 50 years. Then you write. So you write that the capital of Chola was Kaveri Patnam. Then was Kaveri Patnam. Then further you write the most important ruler was the Karikala. The most important ruler was Karikala. Then further right, he created city of Puhar. He created city of Puhar on the banks of river Kaveri. He created city of Puhar on the banks of river Kaveri. And one of the very important contribution of this king Karikala, so what was that? That he embanked this Kaveri river, and that stretch was 150 kilometers. And then he created the earliest dam of India on the Kaveri river. The dam is also known as the Karikala Dam. So this dam is still surviving. I don't say that in the exact form, but later on, whenever it was kind of that getting destructed or getting some kind of that due to the natural calamity, it's not in the right shape. So it was reconstructed by the other rulers. It continued, and now Government of India has created a very good structures over there. Done. So still the dam is existing. Then, so you write that he embanked Kaveri river on a stretch of 150 kilometer. On a stretch of 150 kilometer. Then further you write, uske baad likho that on a stretch of 150 kilometer. Then you write, perhaps he was the first ruler. Perhaps he was the first ruler who created a dam on Kaveri River, known as Karikala Dam. हाँ, अब भी change हो गया, but that point of time it was Karikala only. ठीक है? So we are writing that same thing. Then now, which is where you are, same. You write this one. It was named after the ruler. Then, so there is another one Kallani, but we don't need to write. We need to go by the NCRTs. Then, so this is one aspect. Then one last thing I need to tell you that there was a one very important center of the cotton cultivation, and that center of the cotton cultivation and textile industry was Urayur. So you write city of Urayur was known for cotton cultivation. City of Urayur was known for cotton cultivation and textile industry. Then, so can you tell me the important port of the Cholas? Which? Puhar. And Puhar is the Kaveripatnam itself. Then the same. They are one and same. So, Korkai. Okay? Korkai is that. Korkai is there in the Pandyas. Okay? Tuticorin. Korkai, Tuticorin. And here Arikamedu. Okay? So you write that Kaveripatnam. You write Kaveripatnam, and the same, this Kaveripatnam is the Puhar. So you can write in the brackets Puhar also. Okay? So Kaveripatnam and Arikamedu. Kaveripatnam and Arikamedu were the important ports of the Cholas. Important port of the Cholas. Then, now we will talk about that. The last one, the Pandyas. And then one small paragraph related to that, their economy and trade. So, the Pandyas. So the Pandyas, and here Pandyas. So you write that Mudu Kumudi. I can understand that there are so many facts are there, but somehow you need to remember it. So you write Mudu Kumudi was the that is MUDU and then KUMU. There is only one vowel. U. Only, no, two vowel, but I is for the last time. So Mudu Kumudi was the first ruler. Done. Then you write, Pandyas ruled from Madurai. Which was not only a cultural center, but also the center of cotton textile industry. Okay? So apart from that, the cotton, which is kind of that very famous from the Gujarat, that Madurai cotton is also one of the very famous. Then, so this is there. Now, the most important ruler of this Pandyas was the Nedunjelian. Nedunjelian. So you write Nedunjelian. Nedunjelian. Nedunjeliyan. So Nedunjelian was the most important ruler of the Pandyas. Most important ruler of the Pandyas. Then he was known for the curse of Kannagi. Curse of Kannagi. He was known for the curse of Kannagi, the same lady. Then that the Chera ruler built a temple for the Kannagi, and then here the Kannagi gave a curse to this ruler. Okay? So I'll tell you a story today only, but first we'll write few things and then. So this is one such thing. But what makes this period and why this period is known as the Sangam period? Because of that, the Sangam assemblies, and these assemblies were held by convened by the Pandya rulers. Then, and so there were 3 Sangam assemblies convened by the Pandya rulers. Now you listen that the first Sangam assembly, okay, it is kind of a mythological. So they say that first Sangam assembly was attended by the gods, angels, and saints. So no book was written down in the first Sangam assembly. Second Sangam assembly, what happened? That one book survived from the second Sangam assembly. The name of the book was the Tolkappiyam, okay? The book of the Tamil grammar. Then the third Sangam assembly, it was a very successful assembly. And then in this assembly, 473 poets participated. 473 poets participated, and it was also an inclusive assembly. Out of the 473, 30 were women. Okay? So it means that women were accorded a respectable position. Then in this assembly, some books were written, and books again I will quote in the language and literature, but here I need to mention that after this assembly was over, so 2 epics were written in the Tamil Nadu, and these epics were the Silappatikaram and then the Manimekalai. Then so you write this thing that under the Pandya rulers, 3 Sangam assemblies were held. Under the Pandya rulers, 3 Sangam assemblies were held. 3 Sangam assemblies were held. Then you write that it is believed that first assembly was attended by gods and angels. Was attended by gods and angels. Gods and angels. And in brackets you can write mythological. Means that there is no evidence. Then so mythological. In brackets you can write mythological. Then next you write that from the second Sangam assembly, one book survived. From the second Sangam assembly, one book survived known as Tolkappiyam. One book survived known as Tolkappiyam. Tolkappiyam, and in brackets you can write that Tamil grammar book. Tamil grammar book. Then you write third Sangam assembly was very successful. Third Sangam assembly was very successful. Sangam assembly was very successful. Was very successful. Then you write 473 poets participated in this assembly. 473 poets participated in this assembly, which included 30 poets, 30, which included 30 female poets. 30 female poets. 30 female poets. Then you write that all the books of this assembly survived. All the books of this assembly survived, which can be, all the books of this assembly survived, which can be classified into two categories. Which can be classified into two categories. Which can be classified into two categories. That is, so you write Malkanakku, and 18 books are there in this category. And I'll explain when we'll be reading the language and literature, so I'll explain that what is there in the Malkanakku. And then for here only information is that these are the two categories. So, and Kilkanakku, these are also 18 books. Then, so there were two categories, one is the Malkanakku and then other is the Kilkanakku. See that these two words, what they denote, that this is a kind of that major work and this is the minor work. Then, so this is the major work, this is the minor work. Then after the assembly was over, so it was a great, these assemblies, now listen, these three assemblies were kind of, they provided great impetus to the Tamil language. And the Tamil language started to flourish in the South India, and then also many other books in the Tamil language were written, so which included the very famous Tirukural, okay, written by Tiruvalluvar. Have you heard ever before Tiruvalluvar? कहाँ सुना है? जो सुना है बताओ कहाँ पे? Swami Vivekanand, very good. So you have been to that place. Yes. So those who have been to that place, they must have seen the image of the Tiruvalluvar just close to the Swami Vivekanand's rock. In the middle of the sea, there is a very big statue, Tiruvalluvar statue. And then, if you don't know, this year mains paper, there was a question in the ethics paper from the Tiruvalluvar. Okay? So Tirukural se question tha. Okay? They asked about the quotes and then what he has written in the Tirukural. Done? So we'll be mentioning about that. But for the time being, you write the name. So you write, after the assembly was over, many other important books were written. Which includes, so the name of book is the Tirukural, and it was written by Tiruvalluvar. Tiruvalluvar. Then you write the two epics, Silappatikaram, and this is written by Ilango Adigal. Then the third book is the Manimekalai. And this one was written by Sattanar, but the spelling is Chattnar. So these three books you write, and I'll tell you the story of the Silappatikaram. So Tirukural by Tiruvalluvar. So book name is the Tirukural, and then the writer's name is the Tiruvalluvar. Then Silappatikaram written by Ilango Adigal, and then Manimekalai by Sattanar. Then now, so I know that, see, at first instance these names seems to be difficult. Then, but by the time classes are going to get over, so you will be kind of that, you yourself will be quoting these books. Then, because repetition hoga, bar repetition hoga, there would be there. So that's how you will remember all these things. Then we have just started that this Sangam period, but again there would be quoting of these people. So let's start. I'll tell you about that. Likhna mat, bas sun lo kahani. Okay? So what is the story of the Silappatikaram? It's a kind of that, just like that Mahabharata and Ramayana is popular, it is equally popular in the south. Then, so let's talk about the Silappatikaram. First I'll write the name of the characters. So there is a one character, Kovalam. Then Kovalam's wife is the Kannagi. And then there is another lady, Madhavi. And then there is this king. The name of the king is the same Pandya king, Nedunjelian. And then, I don't know the name of the wife of the king, but queen, at least we will keep queen. So now, let's start with that. So Kovalam was working in the kingdom of the Nedunjelian. Then Madhavi, she was a dancer, okay, in the court of Nedunjelian. Then she is also working in the Nedunjelian. Then Kovalam was living over here. Kannagi was living in her own place, her own home place. Then, now what happened that after some point of time, Kovalam fell in love with the Madhavi. Okay? There was an extramarital affair. So they fell in love with each other. This is all going well, and then everything was fine. So what happened that this all going on well. One day when he returned back to his own place, and at that day he felt guilty, and then remorse was there. So at that day he confessed to the Kannagi that kind of a kind of extramarital affair is there with that lady. So basically Kannagi was really, in the beginning she was unhappy, and then what she she took some time, and then she said to Kovalam that I will be able to forgive you, only the condition is that you leave the job at this place, okay, in the court of the Nedunjelian. So then Kovalam asked that how we are going to survive. If I leave the job, so how we are going to survive? So then she said that I have an idea, okay? I have an idea that how we are going to survive. So she brought one of her anklet. You must be knowing that what is anklet. ठीक है, so जो क्या बोलते हैं पायल, then so she brought one of her anklet, and that anklet was studded with the precious stones. Then it was very costly. It seemed like that it was very costly. So she gave it to one of the anklet, not the two. The one of the anklets she gave to the Kovalam. Kovalam sold that anklet to one of the merchant in his own town. Then. And they got some money, they started their own kind of business or whatever they were doing. They were living in their own area. Now, when he left the place of the Nedunjelian, so at this point of time, one more development was there, that Madhavi became pregnant. Okay? So, but obvious that when she will become pregnant, so she will be obsessive. Okay? And she was so obsessed that she called Kovalam. She went to the Kovalam and she requested kind of that whatever conversation was there between the two. But the outcome of the conversation was that Kovalam is not going to get back at this place, and then he will take care of the Madhavi's child also. Then, but Madhavi was not ready for that. So she was so furious at that point of time that she wanted to some kind of opportunity where she can take the revenge from the Kovalam. This opportunity she saw at the trader's place, okay? The place where the Kovalam had sold that particular anklet. So when she saw the anklet, but her eyes were kind of that full of the sparkle, that how come this anklet is over here? So why she was surprised that the same anklet was there with the queen. Okay? Exactly, like the same anklet was there with the queen. So she asked about that. And then when she went back to the kingdom, so then somehow she was successful in kind of that hiding one of the anklet of the queen. Then, and one of the anklet of the queen was hidden. And then after she framed Kovalam. Then that I know that he has kind of stolen that particular thing. He resigned because of that, and then he went to his own place. He has sold that anklet to this particular trader. So then it was inquired, so it came to be true that it has been sold to the trader. So Kovalam was called to the court, and without being given any trial, he was executed. Then, so he was not given chance even to defend him, even to say a word about him. So he was executed. Now at this moment, when this news reached to the Kannagi, so Kannagi came to the court with another anklet. Then, and she asked just one question to the king, that how come if there is the queen anklets has been stolen by the Kovalam, so how come there is a third anklet? One is there with the trader, one is there with me, and one is there with the queen. So how come there is a third anklet? And at that point of time, so what she did, that she in between the assembly only, she cut her both of the breast. Then in front of the people, she cut both her breast and threw it into the fire and cursed the Nedunjelian. And it is said that after that the city was under the siege of the fire. Then Nedunjelian died just after that. So strong the curse of the Kannagi was there that it was felt that Madurai is not going to survive at that point of time. Then, so strong was there, and then she also died. So this was the one part of the story. You got that? That this is the Silappatikaram. What about the Manimekalai? Let me tell you about the Manimekalai also. Manimekalai is the story of the Madhavi was pregnant. She gave birth to a child that was a daughter. Then, and the daughter was Manimekalai. Okay? So the story of the daughter of the Kovalam and Madhavi is the Manimekalai. So you already know that actually there was no fault of this daughter to be born on this earth. The fault was there with the Madhavi and the Kovalam. Then, so when this child was growing, so society, everybody was throwing bad words on this particular lady, that Nazayad Aulad, kind of that. What you say? So illegitimate. So all kind of bad words were thrown on the Manimekalai. And last mein kya hua, that she was so kind of that frustrated with this kind of attitude in the society that she became a Jain monk. Okay? She accepted Jainism and she became a Jain monk. So at least there would be no bad words thrown on her. So this is that story, that her experience of the society. And society in India, wherever you go, south, north, east, west, all the places people are same. Okay? So बहुत कम ही change देखोगे. So this is how it was there. So these two stories are there. So I hope this will help you in remembering these two names. Okay? Chalo, so you take the break and then after we'll continue. So we'll continue with the Harshvardhan. Here also some interesting things are there related to Harshvardhan. Boards. So now come back to North India and then now we'll start that Harshvardhan. So Harshvardhan's period we are going to start, but the name of the dynasty, don't write Harshvardhan, I have written, but the name of the dynasty, before that you listen little bit, that by 550, Guptas completely disappeared from India. And then there was a vacuum which was created in the North India. So specifically there was nobody who was ruling in the North India. What happened? That at this point of time, many small principalities started to emerge. So there were few. That one was this Pushyabhuti, which was actually based in the Thaneshwar in Haryana. Then, so Pushyabhuti dynasty based in Thaneshwar in Haryana. This was one. Then there was this Maukhari. You listen little bit. Then there was Maitrak. Maukhari, Maitrak. Then at this point of time, Gauda. So Maukharis, I'll tell you the area. They were based in the Thaneshwar in Haryana. These people, Maukharis, are in the Kannauj area of the UP. Then Maitrak, they were the part of the Gujarat. Okay? So where the Sakas were ruling. So this is the Gujarat area. And then Gauda, Bengal. So you write that after the demise of the Guptas, a vacuum was created after, not Harshvardhan, just north you write and then you write. Harshvardhan will write later. First we need to mention these four. So you write, after the demise of the Guptas, a vacuum was created in the north and central India. A vacuum was created in north and central India. Done? Then you write, by 600 AD, many small principalities emerged. In the North and Central India. Then you write, which includes Pushyabhuti dynasty of Thaneshwar, Maukhari of Kannauj, Maukhari, Maukhari of Kannauj, Maitrak of Gujarat. Maitrak of Gujarat. No, capital, moreover area. That area around that wherever they're ruling. And Gaudas, Bengal. Gaudas, Bengal. Gaudas, Bengal. Done? Then, after that you write. After writing this one, only the reference was required, but this much rulers were there. And then the most important was the Pushyabhuti, which will actually later, it will annex all of them. Then, and there would be a good relationship between the Pushyabhuti and the Maukhari. Then, so that I'll mention, but first you write, out of these four, Pushyabhuti dynasty was the most important. Out of these four, Pushyabhuti dynasty was the most important. So now you can write the heading Pushyabhuti dynasty. Pushyabhuti dynasty. So here we need to know a little bit about the Pushyabhuti, and then I'll mention these all people also. So first of all, the founder of the Pushyabhuti dynasty. So listen, that Prabhakar Vardhan, there was this person, his name was Prabhakar Vardhan. He was the founder of the Pushyabhuti dynasty. Then, and listen this story, that what is there. So Prabhakar Vardhan, he had 3 children, and then three childs included. The eldest son was the Rajyavardhan. Then, and then there was a daughter. The name of the daughter was Rajyashri. Rajyashri. Then, and the younger brother was the Harsvardhan. Then, so these 3 children were there. Then now listen that what he did, that Prabhakar Vardhan married this daughter Rajyashri to the Maukhari ruler, and his name was Grahavarman. Now you just need to listen to this. So Grahavarman. So Rajyashri was married to the Maukhari ruler Grahavarman. Now there is a good matrimony, because of the matrimonial relationship, there is a good terms with the Maukhari. So they were kind of friends. Now at this point of time, what happened, that Prabhakar Vardhan died, and then Rajyavardhan became the ruler. So when Rajyavardhan was ruling, so what happened, that these 2 people, Maitrak and Gaudas, they were there. Maitraks were there in the Gujarat, and Gauda. So Gauda, the name of the ruler of the Gauda was the Shashank Gauda. Then, so Shashank Gauda, he kind of that allied with the Maitrak, and then what they did, that they killed Grahavarman. Then, so these 2 rulers aligned, they killed Grahavarman. He was eliminated, and then the next thing is that they also not only killed, but they kidnapped Rajyashri. Okay? So they kidnapped Rajyashri. So in this, what happened, that in this battle, in this particular situation, Rajyavardhan went to fight with them. Then, so when he was about to kill he defeated the Maitrak ruler, and he killed him also. Then, but treacherously, when he killed Maitrak ruler, when he was returning, so he was killed by the Shashank Gauda. Then, so when he was returning after that, so he was killed by the Shashank Gauda. And then in this situation, there was only one person who can take the reins. That was the Harsvardhan. He was young, he took the reins, and then, so the very first thing he that he did, that he thought that it is first, don't go to fight with the Shashank Gauda, first try to free Rajyashri from the capture. So she was imprisoned over there in the Kannauj itself. Then, so somehow he went over there and he was able to free Rajyashri. Then, but immediately he was not able to defeat the Gauda. Harsvardhan waited for next 13 years. Whenever there was a chance, he was trying to defeat the Shashank Gauda. And then after the wait of 13 years, finally he defeated and killed the Shashank Gauda. Then, so once he killed the Shashank Gauda, so then now these all area come under the rule of the Harsvardhan. Then, so that's how it was there. So first episode you write that Prabhakar Vardhan was the founder of this dynasty. Then you write, he married his daughter Rajyashri. He married his daughter Rajyashri to the Maukhari ruler, Rajeshri, to the Maukhari ruler, Grahavarman. Grahavarman. It's there on the board, so you can see that. Though I have cut, but spelling is clear. Grahavarman. Then after the death of, full stop, after full stop you write, after the death of Prabhakar Vardhan, his son Rajyavardhan became the next ruler. His son Rajyavardhan became the next ruler. Then his son Rajyavardhan became the next ruler. Then further you mention, at this point of time, the Maitrak and the Gaudas, at this point of time, the Maitrak and the Gaudas allied, Maitraks and the Gaudas allied and killed Grahavarman. Maitrak and Gauda allied and they killed Grahavarman. They also captured Rajeshri. Full stop. Then Rajeshri. Later, when Rajyavardhan was fighting with the Maitraks, he was treacherously killed by Shashank Gauda. See, there is a one spelling mistake. Yeah, after E you need to add a also. Treacherously killed Shashank Gauda, treacherously killed Rajyavardhan. Then you write, in this situation, younger brother Harsvardhan became the ruler. In this situation, younger brother Harsvardhan became the ruler. Then after that you write, Harsvardhan became the ruler. First he freed his sister, Rajeshri from Kannauj. Then you write, Shashank Gauda was a formidable enemy. Shashank Gauda was a formidable enemy and Harsvardhan had to wait 13 years. When he finally defeated Gauda. 13 years when he finally defeated Gauda. And he was the same person. Now listen, Shashank Gauda was the same person who cut the Bodhi tree. Okay? So at the Bodh Gaya. So now this was there. Now listen, so next part is that this is the, after this kind of the defeat of the Shashank Gauda, now Shashank Gauda was the most powerful ruler in the north and the central India. And if you want to know the kind of the territory in which he ruled, so basically all the areas above Narmada river was there with the Shashank Gauda. Okay? Everything above Narmada river was the Shashank Gauda. And then below the Narmada river was the Chalukyas. Done. So there would be this fight between the Chalukya and then the Harsvardhan. Done. So next you listen, just listen. So at this point of time, when he was already there in the North India, so he tried to extend his territory into the South India. So due to this aspiration of the Harsvardhan, the battle was fought at the banks of river Narmada. Done. And then this battle was there between the Chalukya ruler Pulakesin II and then the Harsvardhan. But in this battle, Harsvardhan was defeated by the Pulakesin second. Then, but after that, what happened? That generally, what will happen that when he's defeated, so he will be captured, his area will be captured. This didn't happen. A friendship treaty was signed between the Harshvardhan and the Pulakesin too. And as per the terms of treaty, it was decided that in future, Pulakesin will not try to extend his territory north of the river Narmada, and Harshvardhan will not try to extend his territory south of river Narmada. And it was written in a very famous inscription. That was the Aihode inscription. Okay? Aihode inscription of the Karnataka, and it was written in a Sanskrit language. Then, so the person actually who wrote was the court poet of the Harshvardhan Banabhat. Then, so now you write, and change paragraph, then you write. So, Harshvardhan was an ambitious ruler. Harshvardhan was an ambitious ruler. Harshvardhan was an ambitious ruler. And he tried to extend, his territory to the south of river Narmada. To the south of river Narmada. Then after you write to the south of river Narmada, you write that which led to fight between Harshvardhan and Chalukya ruler Pulakesin second. Pulakesin second. Chalukya ruler Pulakesin second. Then after you write, Pulakesin defeated Harshvardhan. Pulakesin defeated Harshvardhan. Pulakesin defeated Harshvardhan, and a friendship treaty was signed between the two rulers. A friendship treaty signed between the two rulers, which was known as Aihode, which was written in Aihode inscription. So you can see the spelling of Aihode. It's in Karnataka. We write it Aihole, but the pronunciation in Kannada is the Aihode. Then, so Aihode inscription, and in brackets you can write written in Sanskrit. Aihode inscription written in Sanskrit. Then you write, as per the terms of treaty, both the rulers promised each other. As per the terms of treaty, both the rulers promised each other that in future they will not extend or venture into each other's territory. Extend or venture into each other's territory. Then, so this is about the fight which was there between these two rulers. Now, come to this part. Which one? Banabhat. Okay? I'll mention after this one. Okay? So, because Banabhat is going to write the biography of the Harshvardhan, which is the Harshcharit. Then, so I'm going to mention. Then, now listen. So this is one part of the story. Now come to the interesting part of the story. So here you listen. So what happened that this is the moment when the second Chinese Buddhist traveler is going to come to India, Huan Sang. Then, so I'll tell you one story, and the question which was asked in 2012 prelims. Then, so it was an interesting story. So basically what happened that Huan Sang came to India. Then, and his purpose was that he will come to India to learn in the Nalanda University and what are the tenets of the Buddhism. Then, so he came to Nalanda University, and then he came to the Kannauj Kannauj, which was the seat of the Harshvardhan now. Then, so Kannauj was the capital where he was living. So you know that from the very beginning, China is one country which was known for the inventions, so many inventions. You know that paper was first created in the China, and then the writing kind of thing, then tea was there, then rice is also kind of emerging. So many things were there, so many inventions were there from the China. Then, so obviously that he will be carrying so much of paraphernalia with him. So he was wearing a cloth where the cloth was full of the paraphernalia, so many items, so many objects he was carrying. So when he was entering into the streets of Kannauj, so he was robbed by the robbers. Okay? He was robbed by the robbers, and then at this point of time, what happened, that he has written in his book, he has actually written a book, name of the book is the Siyuki. So in this book he has written that in Kannauj there was a provision of the severe punishment for even of the pettiest of the crime. Pettiest of the crime means that even if you steal a food item, then also you will be punished very severely. And the severe punishment was that hands were cut. Then, so very severe punishment was there. And then he further mentions, though there was a strict provision of the punishment, even in that condition, streets of the Kannauj were not free from the robbers. Then, so why he wrote this? Because of his own experience. So when he was venturing, when he was in the streets of Kannauj, so these robbers must have kind of that looked at him, and then they must have said that there are some new things and we must kind of rob him. So he was robbed, and then the most interesting part was that they robbed him in such a way that he was left on underpants only. Then, so you know that sumo kind of personality, the belly and then everything. So everybody who was looking at the Huensang, they were laughing at the Huensang, and then he was like that, he was enjoying that. Then, so actually, so what happened, that when this news reached to the Harshvardhan, so Harshvardhan also enticed that, who is that who has been robbed and he is laughing? Call him to the court. So then he was called into the court and everybody started laughing. Even Harshvardhan, incessantly he was laughing. So, and he was also laughing with the Harshvardhan. So then what happened, that Harshvardhan said that, don't you feel like, just like that ad you are seeing, that RBI kind of that अरे इसके बैंक में चोरी हो गई, इसको वो नहीं है, kind of that. So the same kind of question must have been posed by the Harshvardhan, that why you are kind of that not concerned about that what has been robbed from you. So then he said that, he replied, he kind of gave an intellectual statement, and then the first instance only, Huensang, Harshvardhan recognized that he is a very different intellectual personality. And then he started conversation with the Huensang. So he was actually, within a week, he was so influenced that he gave him a coveted position in the court. Then, now, not only he is giving him the coveted position in the court, Harshvardhan was a strong devotee, ardent devotee of Lord Shiva. He was all the time, he was worshipping Lord Shiva. But under the influence of the Huensang, he accepted Buddhism also and started to worship Buddha also. So this he done. Then after, under the influence of the Huensang only, he conducted 2 assemblies. And we can't say only Buddhist assembly, because here the people from all the religion participated. Then Brahmins also participated, Jainas also. And Jainas at this point of time were called as Nirgranthi. Okay? So they also participated. So 2 assemblies were there. First was there in the capital, Kannauj. Then near about 20 days were there, 20-25 days. So in this first assembly, I'll mention this thing, just you listen. So in this first assembly, Huensang gave lectures on the Mahayana Buddhism, okay? And people were listening. And then after the assembly when assembly was about to over, so a gift distribution ceremony was there, that those people who participated, they were given some gift. Now, this was the time then people were interested into the assembly. This news reached to all over the territory of the Harshvardhan, that assembly was held, and those who participated, nobody was talking about the Mahayana Buddhism. Those who participated, they got the free gifts. Now everybody was interested into the free gift, that next time when it will happen, we will participate. Then, so actually the next assembly was to be conducted in the Prayag. It all started, and it was a very long assembly. Okay? It was going to be kind of that 75 days affair. So in this assembly, hell lot of people participated, and they were all in kind of this expectation that we will get the gift. So then Mahayana Buddhism started. Huensang started his lecture, and then you will get some kind of lecturers who will be the kind of the Huensang. They will give the lectures, and nobody will be interested. So, so he started, and nobody was interested in listening about the Mahayana Buddhism. And then they waited, and when the 18 days passed, there was no sign of giving the gift. People were so frustrated that they put the tent on fire. Then aag laga diya. So then. Finally, what happened? Harshvardhan realized that you cannot kind of give the preaching to the people when their basic necessities are not fulfilled. That was the main issue. So then he realized. So then from that day onwards, whoever was coming to the assembly to attend, entry gate पे ही gift दे दिया जाता था. 10 घंटे बैठने हैं. So this is how it was there. So people were participating, people were coming and going. And then Huensang has written one last thing that, see, you already know that whenever there was a kingdom, so kingdom may, there are 2-3 kinds of the treasuries. Then one is which is meant for the personal expense of the king, then which is the royal treasury, and one is which is meant for the public. So whatever amount that was there in the royal treasury and which was for the expense of the Harshvardhan all gifted to the people or kind of donated to the people, and he became a monk king. So he was just living like a monk in a very ascetic kind of setup. He was living like that, and then he was ruling. Then, so that's how it was there. So this is mentioned in the Huensang's book, and the name of the book is the Siyuki. This was the question this year, that accounts of the Chinese Buddhist traveler, then and then the Arab traveler. So you needed to write that Huensang has mentioned this, and then also the Megasthenes has mentioned this. Not Megasthenes, sorry, Fahian in the Chandragupta period. Then, so you could have written that, what you could have written in the Chandragupta period, Fahian, that society and economy and administration. The same thing that you have written, that he has mentioned about the Guptas, economy and society, and these Chandals you could have mentioned, women you could have mentioned, and then after in Huensang, this experience you could have mentioned. Then, and then uske baad Arab abhi aayega when we'll be talking about the this particular medieval India. Then, so this was the question. It was a straightforward, easy question, but you needed to know that what was there. Now listen to the another question which was there in the prelims. So prelims में एक question पूछा था 2012 में, that which of the following statement regarding Harshvardhan's rule is true. So first statement was there that there was a strict punishment, provision of the punishment even for the pettiest of the crime during the Harshvardhan rule. Is it correct? Correct, because Huensang has mentioned. And then the second is statement was that the streets of Kannauj were not free from robbers. It's also correct. Okay. So it's also correct because he was robbed. So even it is just like the today's situation that we have the rules, regulation, and then also the so many code of procedure, criminal code of procedure, so many this IPC, everything is there. But still, आज कोई रुक जाता है क्या इसकी वजह से कि IPC है, will not murder anybody. Then so same kind of situation was there. So streets of Kannauj were full of the robbers, though there was a strict provision of the punishment. Then, so both the statements were correct. So this is how it was there. So these stories actually help you in remembering that thing. मुझे भी, I was giving prelims at that point of time, and then somehow I remembered somewhere in the class 8, my teacher has told me that Huensang was like that and he was robbed by that. So that image came into my mind, and then I corrected it. So that happens, that these stories will actually help you in retaining this kind of information. Then, so now you write that, first you write about the initial religion of the Harshvardhan. So you write, Harshvardhan was an ardent devotee, ardent, A-R-D-E-N-T. Harshvardhan was an ardent devotee of Shiva. Harshvardhan was an ardent devotee of Shiva. Then further write, at this point of time, a Chinese Buddhist traveler, and how you will be writing Huensang? So H-I-U-E-N. Then, and then T-S-A-N-G. So Chinese Buddhist traveler Huensang came to Kannauj. Huinsang came to Kannauj. Then you write, he wrote a book named as Siyuki. Siyuki. Named as Siyuki. Siyuki. Then you write, in this book, he mentioned that there was very, very strict provision. There was very strict provision of punishment, even for the pettiest of the crime, in Kannauj. Even for the pettiest of crime in Kannauj. Then you write, but at the same point of time, he also mentions that streets of Kannauj were not free from robbers. Then this is one part of the Huinsang's experience, and then you change paragraph and then you write that his influence on the Harshvardhan. Then so you write that Harshvardhan under the influence of Huinsang, accepted. So which particular version of Buddhism he will accept? Mahayana, yes. So accepted Mahayana Buddhism. Harshvardhan under the influence of Huinsang accepted Mahayana Buddhism. Then after that you write, so next thing is that he also convened two assemblies to support the cause of Mahayana Buddhism. Then further write, after full stop, first assembly was held at Kannauj. Okay? This assembly was considered as short in arm for Mahayana Buddhism. This is the question what was asked, that which particular assembly is considered as a short in arm for the Mahayana Buddhism. Then, so the assembly at the Kannauj was considered as the short in arm for the Mahayana Buddhism. Then Meel Ka Patthar, kind of. Then you write the next one. Second assembly was held at Prayag. Then after full stop you write, here Huinsang mentions that Harshvardhan gave up all his personal wealth in donation. And he ruled as a monk. and he ruled as a monk. Then now the next part of the story you listen. Okay? So after this time, when these assemblies were over and everything was done, so Huensang kind of that he wished before the Harshvardhan that now is the time, sir, that I want to see my family also in the China. Then Harshvardhan gave him permission to that you must go to your place, and then he kind of that he also gave him so many gifts to the Huensang. Huensang returned to the China, and the ruler in the China at that point of time under whose rule Huensang was there, so the name of that dynasty was the Song dynasty. Okay? Tsong, Song dynasty. So Song dynasty ruler, when he kind of learned about the Harshvardhan, that he is a very not only the intellectual but also what we say that person who kind-hearted to एक word होता है, but enlightened person. Then, so when he told him that he is a kind of enlightened person, so a hell lot of respect was generated in the Song dynasty for the Harshvardhan. So the Song ruler decided that now at this time I will send some Chinese gift and then one more envoy to the court of the Harshvardhan. So the third Chinese Buddhist traveler, his name was Ai Sing. So Ai Sing was sent to the court of the Harshvardhan. Now listen, so when Ai Sing started for India, and the day he arrived in Kannauj was a very unfortunate day. Then, and the day he arrived in Kannauj was the day Harshvardhan died. Then, so he was actually not able to meet Harshvardhan. That was very unfortunate. But this guy was not knowing that he was such a panauti that when he returned to China, his own ruler died on that day. So this happened. So बेचारा घूमते रह गया from India to there, and he was able to meet nobody. So that's how it was there. And he was kind of, when Harshvardhan died, so he was kind of that, he was shocked, but he was of the view that I must be the first person who will release this information to my own ruler. Then, but this happened. So you write that, what you have written as a monk. Then you write that Harshvardhan said, friendly relation with the Chinese Song dynasty. Tsong, Chinese Song dynasty. Chinese Song dynasty. Then further you write, the Chinese ruler sent an envoy. The Chinese ruler sent an envoy, so ENVOY, ruler sent an envoy led by Ai Sing, to meet Harshvardhan. But unfortunately, Harshvardhan died on the day when Ai Sing reached Kannauj. Died on the day when Ai Sing reached Kannauj. Okay? And next part you can write in the brackets at your own. So पता चले लिख लिया तुम लोगों ने यहाँ पे पनौती और एग्जाम में भी लिख के चले आए. So this is how it was there. So Harshvardhan rule got ended, and it was actually exactly 647 AD. Then, so 647 AD was the period when Harshvardhan died, and then after some other rulers were there who continued. But by 700 AD, this Pushyabhuti dynasty disappeared completely. Then, so we will talk about that who came to this part, that after the demise of the Harshvardhan in this part of the country. But now again we need to move back to the South India. Then, so after, as I have said in the beginning, that in South India, these Sangama dynasties, then, so they were very powerful in between 300 to 600. And by the 600, one of them will disappear, and that is the Cholas. Then, so when Cholas is going to disappear, so the Chola territory will be divided into the two kingdoms. One would be the Pallavas and one other would be the Chalukyas. Then, so two new dynasties are going to emerge at the place of the Chola in the South India. And Pallavas were kind of that little bit earlier, because they were, it is said that they were working in the court of this particular Satavahanas, and then later on they gained power in the South India. Then and Chalukyas were there from the Vatapi, that is the Badami, then in Karnataka. So that's how it is there. So these two dynasties we need to write a little bit, but more elaboration would be there in the temple architecture, because these are the two dynasties who actually initiated the Dravida architecture in the South India. Then, so we will talk about that in the temple architecture. But first you write, now you change, you write that, now we are moving to the south. So you write that, that around 600 AD, around 600 AD, हाँ लिख लो पहले, heading you write Pallava and Chalukya, Pallava and Chalukya. Heading you write Pallava and Chalukya. Then, so you write, by 600 AD, two new strong dynasties emerged in South India. Two new strong dynasties emerged in South India. Emerged in South India. Then you write, they were, so first you write Chalukyas of Vatapi or Badami. So I'm writing here, you can see the spelling if you have any confusion. So Chalukyas of, so the ancient name of the Badami was Vatapi and the present day name is the Badami. Vatapi. Chalukyas of Vatapi and Pallavas of Kanchi. Pallavas of Kanchi. So this particular part, Vatapi is Karnataka and Kanchi is the, any idea? Haan, Kanchipuram, the adjacent district of the Chennai. Then, so Tamil Nadu. So these two were there, these two emerged. Now listen little bit. Listen little bit, that from the very beginning, these two dynasties actually emerged on the in that area only, which was ruled by the Cholas. Done. So, but obvious that disputes were there, and dispute was regarding one fertile area. So let me create one diagram so that you will understand that how it was there. So the lower part of the country, basically that. Done. So now listen, that there is this river. बंद करना है. अच्छा. रिमोट यहीं पे रख दिया करो, उससे बंद कर देंगे, ठीक है? नहीं तो ये जुगाड़ सिस्टम तो रहता ही है, ठीक है? So how it is there? So now listen that the Kaveri river, ठीक है? There were 2-3 disputes. One is that the fertile area of the Kaveri river. Then another, there was the most important dispute was that there was one river. Here, this is Krishna, ठीक है? And Krishna river is the one which creates the boundary between the two states. What's the name of the state? Andhra and Telangana. Exactly. So it creates the boundary between the two states. Krishna and then the river which is going to get Tungabhadra, which meets with the Krishna. So basically this area was the most fertile area. Then, and this area was known as Tungabhadra Doab. Then, so Raichur and Tungabhadra. Raichur will say when there would be the Vijayanagar. Okay, name will change. Raichur Doab. Now we'll say that Tungabhadra Doab. Then, so Tungabhadra Doab. So name will change, but the same area would be the dispute between the Behmanis and the Vijayanagar. Then Raichur. So Tungabhadra Doab it was there, and they were fighting for this Tungabhadra Doab because it was very fertile. Then, so they were fighting for this, and then in the very first fight, the same ruler Pulakesin II, then what he did, that he defeated the Pallava ruler Mahendravarman first. And Mahendravarman, because of the injury he sustained in this war, he died. Now, later on what happened, that Mahendravarman's son, listen here, this part I will dictate. So, Mahendravarman's son, his name was Narsimhavarman. He came to power and then he made an elaborate arrangement and then he attacked on the Vatapi. So, not only he captured this area, but he also captured the capital of the Chalukyas, Vatapi. Okay? And the Pulakesin II was defeated and killed. Then, so that was the initial rivalry which established these two dynasties. And actually because after the defeat of this Chalukyas were divided into many branches. So listen, one particular thing, you listen, that at this point of time, the first battle, you listen, the first battle when the Pulakesin is defeating the Mahendravarman, at this point of time, the area which was conquered by the Chalukya ruler, then Pulakesin II, it was Vengi. Then, and Vengi we say Amaravati also. So he captured the area of Vengi or Amaravati in the Andhra, the capital of the Andhra. Done. So this area he captured and he gave it to his brother Vishnuvardhan. Then he gave it to his brother Vishnuvardhan. Now, this was during the first battle. Second battle, what happened that the Pallavas are defeating the Chalukya ruler. Then, so when the Pallavas defeated Chalukyas and they captured their capital, Vatapi, so at this point of time, this brother declared that मेरा मेरे भाई से कोई रिश्ता नहीं है, ठीक है? He declared that I don't have any relation with the Vatapi Chalukyas, and I am a separate kingdom. This area, Amaravati, Vengi is the separate kingdom. So that's how two branches of Chalukyas emerged. One branch is the western branch and this branch was called as the eastern branch. Done. So now you write that, what you write in Pallavas of Kanchi. Then you write, from the very beginning, these two dynasties fought with each other. These two dynasties fought with each other to control the fertile region between Krishna and Tungabhadra river. Krishna and Tungabhadra river. Then further write, initially Chalukya ruler Pulakesin II defeated Pallava ruler Mahendra Varman. So how you will be writing Varman? Varman. So Mahendra Varman, Pallava ruler Mahendra Varman, and captured the area of Vengi. And brackets you can write the present day Amaravati. Captured the area of Vengi. And there are two Amaravatis. One is there in the Maharashtra and one is there in the capital of the, so this is this one, okay? Andhra one. So captured Vengi. Then further right, he gave this area of Vengi to his brother. To his brother Vishnuvardhan. Now again you change paragraph and then you write that how the this particular Pallava ruler. So you write, after the death of Mahendra Varman, change paragraph and then you write. So after the death of Mahendra Varman, his son Narsimha Varman not only defeated Pulakesin, but also captured his capital at Vatapi. Then one more thing we need to write is that to celebrate this victory he did something. So you write, to celebrate this victory, Narsimha Varman took the title of Vatapi Kondi. Then Narsimha Varman took the title of Vatapi Kondi. The meaning of this word is that conqueror of the Vatapi. Then, so conqueror of Vatapi. He took the title of Vatapi Kondi or the conqueror of Vatapi. Then, so now this dispute was there. Then here you mentioned the creation of the eastern branch of the Chalukya. Then, so you write, at this moment, Vishnuvardhan of Amaravati declared the creation of eastern branch of Chalukya. Eastern branch of Chalukya. Then eastern branch of Chalukya. And already western branch was there, which was ruled by the Pulakeshin II. Then, so after the defeat of the Pulakeshin II, these Chalukya, now listen, see, these Chalukya people of the western branch, the Karnataka part, they moved to the Kalyan area. Kalyan, you know, where is that? Mumbai, okay? That Mumbai, Thane, Kalyan. So they moved to the Kalyan. So now their capital became the Kalyan. Later on, they will get the Badami also, done, but not till the time Narasimhavarman is alive, okay? So you write that it also led to creation of western branch with the capital at Kalyan. Kalyani, you write. It was actually known as Kalyani, and then later it came to be known as a Kalyan. At Kalyani. Kalyani, done. And इसमें भी एक branching होगा later on. You'll just listen. Don't need to write, but सुनने के लिए सुन लो that what is there. So this western branch will again divide. ठीक है? There would be division. One branch will move to the Gujarat, which will actually control the Kalyan, and then the original branch will come back to the this particular Badami. Okay? So this is about the Chalukyas and Pallavas. But one thing we need to mention about the Chalukyas and Pallavas, that they were one of the finest temple makers, and they initiated temple architecture in the South India. Okay? So you write that both Chalukyas and Pallavas were pioneer of Chalukyas and Pallavas were pioneer of temple architecture in South India. South India. So I'll just mention the name of the architecture which was kind of that, which was under them, and then we will very elaborately discuss all the features in the architecture. So you write that Chalukyas created Vesara style of temple in Karnataka. Vesara, V-E-S-S-A-R-A. Vesara style of temple in Karnataka. Vesara style of temple in Karnataka. And then you write, Pallavas initiated rock cut cave architecture. Which later Pallavas initiated rock cut cave architecture, which later gave rise to Dravida style of temple. Then चाहो तो एक example लिख लो that this rock cut architecture. So you write that what is the name of that? Those temples are there in the Mahabalipuram. Can you tell me the name? Sword temple. One is Shore temple, but sword was not created by them. Ratha temple. Okay? So you write, for example, Ratha temple at Mahabalipuram. It is also known as Mamalapuram. Okay? So this place is also known as Mamalapuram and then the Mahabalipuram. Done? So this is all about that. This is the Chalukyas and the Pallavas. Now, listen, that kal class hai? Kal hai na? So tomorrow what we'll see that the last three of the North India. Okay? The Rashtrakuta, Pala and then the Pratihara. Pala, Pratihara, Rashtrakuta, these three we'll see, and then we'll move to the last part of the South India, that is the mainline Chola dynasty. And tomorrow we'll be able to start that, not only able to start, but a good chunk of the medieval history would be there tomorrow. Then, and then after one more class would be there related to this one. So maybe you may have got art and culture one, ऐसे करके मिला होगा, ठीक है? मैं change करवा दूंगा, that would be the ancient and medieval only, ठीक है? And then we'll start the art and culture. So I'm stopping here today. Well, chalo, thank you.